Admiral Voss stared at the holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of countless stars. Earth's defensive fleet, 37 ships of various classes, hovered in formation above the planet. To most species in the Galactic Council, it looked pathetic. "They're coming," Lieutenant Reed announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "The Krull battle group has entered the solar system." Voss nodded. The Krull Empire had been expanding for centuries, conquering world after world with brutal efficiency. Earth was simply next on their list, an insignificant blue planet with supposedly primitive defenses. High Commander Draz of the Krull Empire sneered at the human fleet through the view screen of his dreadnought. Compared to his armada of 200 warships, the Earth vessels looked like toys. "These humans think they can resist with that asterisk?" Draz laughed, his scaled skin rippling with amusement. "Their ships aren't even properly armored. Look at all that exposed glass and those fragile protrusions." His second-in-command, Care, studied the human vessels with narrowed eyes. "Strange design choices. They don't match any known defensive configuration in our database. Because they're not a proper military force." Draz replied dismissively. "These humans have barely been spacefaring for 2 centuries. They know nothing of real war." Care wasn't convinced. "Intelligence reports they refused our standard surrender terms. That seems unusual for a species facing overwhelming odds." "Hubris," Draz declared. "Open communications. Let's see if they've reconsidered." On Earth's flagship, the Resilience Admiral Vost received the incoming transmission. "Human defenders," Draz's reptilian face filled the screen. "Your position is hopeless. Your ships are outmatched in every way. Surrender now, and we will establish a protectorate status that preserves some of your autonomy." Voss smiled faintly. "We appreciate your offer, High Commander, but we must decline." Draz's expression hardened. "Then you've chosen extinction. Your ships lack proper armor, your weapons are rudimentary, and your numbers aren't insignificant." "What possible advantage do you think you have?" "We're human," Voss replied simply. The transmission ended, leaving Draz baffled by the cryptic response. "All ships, execute Plan Theta," Voss ordered. The Earth fleet suddenly scattered, breaking formation in what appeared to be chaos. The Krull commanders laughed at the display of apparent panic. "They're running already," one Krull captain reported to Draz. "Shall we pursue?" "Of course," Draz commanded. "Destroy them all." The massive Krull armada moved forward, splitting into pursuit groups. What they failed to notice was the precise pattern in the humans' seemingly erratic movements. "First volley, mark," Voss ordered. From the fragile protrusions that the Krull had mocked, the human ships suddenly released thousands of small objects. Each was barely larger than a human fist. "What are those?" Care asked, pointing at the cloud of objects on their sensors. "Some kind of primitive mines?" Draz dismissed the concern. "Nothing that small could damage our warships." Then the objects accelerated, reaching speeds that the Krull sensors struggled to track. Each one contained a tiny fusion charge with a depleted uranium core, simple but devastatingly effective kinetic weapons. The first Krull ship exploded as dozens of the projectiles penetrated its hull at relativistic speeds, bypassing shields designed to stop energy weapons and large ordnance. "Impossible!" Draz roared as 3 more ships erupted into flames. "Target those projectiles." But the Krull point defense systems, designed to intercept conventional missiles and torpedoes, couldn't track the tiny, ultra-fast projectiles. More ships began to fall. "Second phase, initiate," Voss commanded. The exposed glass sections of the human ships suddenly ejected, revealing themselves to be autonomous drone platforms. Hundreds of smaller vessels now joined the battle, each controlled by neural-linked pilots safely stationed back on Earth. The humans, they tricked us. Care realized too late. Those weren't windows. They were drone bays designed to look like structural weaknesses. The human drones darted between the massive Krull warships, their small size making them difficult targets while they planted explosive charges on critical systems. As his fleet crumbled around him, Draz finally understood. The humans hadn't built their ships according to standard Galactic Council military doctrine. They hadn't even tried to match the Crawl in firepower or armor. Instead, they had created something entirely different, vessels designed specifically to exploit the weaknesses in conventional space combat tactics. Retreat? Draz finally ordered, his pride shattered. All ships, fall back immediately. But it was too late. The human fleet had encircled them, closing the trap. The inadequate human ships now revealed their true nature, not as inferior copies of galactic standard designs, but as purpose-built asymmetric warfare platforms. 6 hours later, Admiral Voss stood before the Galactic Council's emergency session, projected as a hologram into their grand chamber. "You violated every established principle of fleet design," the council elder said, bewilderment in his voice. "Your ships appeared decorative, weak. Was this deception planned from the beginning?" "We knew we couldn't match the Crawl ship for ship," Voss explained, "so we didn't try. Humans have a long history of asymmetric warfare. When faced with a technologically superior opponent, we adapt." "The Crawl laughed at your fleet," another counselor noted. "Yes," Voss agreed. "That was the point. They expected us to follow their rulebook. Their overconfidence was our greatest advantage." The council chambers fell silent as the implications settled in. The humans, this species that many had dismissed as primitive newcomers, had defeated the Crawl Empire's premier battle fleet with a fraction of the ships and resources. "We should have remembered," the elder finally said, "that species don't advance to the stars without overcoming their own challenges. If the humans survived Earth long enough to reach us, they must be more formidable than they appear." Voss smiled. "We had a saying in our pre-space military history: amateurs talk strategy, professionals talk logistics. The Crawl built impressive ships. We built a system to defeat them." As the council session ended, word spread throughout the galaxy: beware the humans. Their strength isn't in their ships, but in how they think. They don't play by the rules, and they're just getting started.